Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look to what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we'll be talking all about Mercury entering Virgo. But in case you missed it, last week, we talked all about Leo season, including why Mercury in Virgo is significant this time around. So if you want to know what you can expect during Leo season and miss that episode, definitely listen to last week's episode before diving into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything you need to know about the full moon in Aquarius and Pluto square the nodes and how both of those transits will affect you.
So with that being said, let's dive into Mercury in Virgo. So Mercury entering Virgo. Mercury will enter the sign of Virgo on July 28th at 5:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know, Mercury in Virgo is normally a period of time where you are feeling very practical. You're paying a lot more attention to details, but something you might not know, unless you listen to last week's episode, is that Mercury will retrograde, not in Leo season, but during Virgo season. So, spoiler alert, this Mercury in Virgo transit is a prominent one this year.
How this affects you is you're going to be very practical and organized during this time. Virgo is ruled by the planet Mercury, so Mercury will do really well, which will bring some ease when it comes to our thinking and communication. However, as Jade mentioned, it will retrograde. So that's something to keep in mind as you are experiencing this energy. During Mercury in Virgo, it can be very easy to be very critical of yourself and to be more of a perfectionist during this time. So if you do find that you are focusing a lot on things that are going wrong or things that are flawed, it can be really good to practice being very compassionate with yourself and others, taking breaks to recharge and appreciating all of the things you do, no matter how big or small they are.
So why does this matter? As Kara mentioned, Mercury is in its home sign of Virgo. And as I mentioned earlier, we will experience a Mercury retrograde during Virgo season. And don't worry, we'll give you the dates for all of that later in the episode. But for the most part, with the Mercury in Virgo, Mercury at home energy, communication should be flowing pretty fluidly. This is a really great time, obviously pre-retrograde, to organize, to plan things. It's always very fitting that Virgo transits tend to happen around the back to school energy, whether you are in school, have children who are going to school, or are just getting back into the momentum at work after summer vacations. This is always a really good time to just get organized and to plan ahead.
So how long does this transit last? Mercury will be in Virgo from July 28th until Mercury enters Libra on October 4th at 8:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you have from July 28th until October 4th to enjoy the Mercury in Virgo energy. And again, it's a longer period of time because of the retrograde, and we will explain those key dates a little bit later in this episode.
But there will be some key dates you'll want to pay attention to and what we're going to call the first part of Mercury in Virgo. This is from the moment Mercury enters Virgo leading up to the retrograde. What are those dates you'll want to pay attention to? So the first one will be August 1st. Mercury will be opposite Saturn. You might find during this day that there might be some challenges when it comes to communicating. If you notice that you're feeling very serious and thinking more about the long term, that's another thing that could come up. Since Saturn does rule, restrictions and blockages and oppositions can throw things out of balance. Just be mindful if you're finding that you want to speak up but aren't letting yourself.
And then on August 9th, Mercury will be trine Jupiter. Trines are positive aspects, and Jupiter is a very positive planet. So this should help lighten some of that intense Saturn energy. And the upcoming retrograde, you might feel more optimistic, focused on positive thinking, and increased energy on that day.
This is also a really good day for learning, too. Now, for the retrograde, I will say we will have an episode on Mercury retrograde and what you can expect in terms of the actual effects of the retrograde as we get closer to it. But I figured you'd want to know the dates in advance now so you can put them in your calendar, plan ahead. That's what this Mercury and Virgo energy is all about. So here are the dates you'll want to know for the upcoming Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde pre-shadow will begin on August 3rd at 8:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pre-shadow is like the prelude or the coming attractions to Mercury retrograde, where the retrograde energy is just starting to be noticeable, but it's not quite there yet.
And then on August 23rd, Mercury retrograde will officially start at 3:59 p.m. And then the retrograde will end on September 15th at 4:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And then we will enter the post-shadow period immediately after Mercury retrograde ends. And the Mercury retrograde post-shadow will end on September 30th at 1:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The post-shadow is kind of like the outro if the pre-shadow is the intro, where the effects of Mercury retrograde might still show up, but they're slowly starting to go away. And then if you remember earlier in the episode, October 4th, Mercury will be in Libra and we will have no more Mercury in Virgo. And then again, just to remind you, we will have a Mercury retrograde episode as we get closer. But if you want to know in advance about what you can expect in your life once Mercury retrograde is happening, if you're curious to know more about how Mercury in Virgo, Mercury retrograde in Virgo affects you on a more personal level, then this is your reminder. We do offer readings. Readings are hosted on an app called Intro, which allows for FaceTime style calls. We have readings for as short as 15 minutes to as long as 1 hour. You decide what you want to talk about. When you go to book the reading, there's a slot for you to type in your questions, such as, what can I expect with Mercury retrograde in Virgo? And we'll be able to pull up your chart, answer any questions you might have on the call face to face.
And if you've never booked a reading with us before, then you can use the code STARS, all caps, STARS, for $20 off your first reading.
And just a reminder, next week we'll be talking all about the full moon in Aquarius, as well as Pluto squaring the nodes. So definitely stick around for that one. But if you want to stay in the loop with us and what's to come, then make sure you're following us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at BLME The Stars. That is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.